What's going on YouTube? It is your guy Consumer Reviews and DIYs. We are back in the building today with a DIY video. And today we're going to be working on soldering back the rear defroster connection on the left side of this 2015 Yukon XL. This model comes with two rear defroster connects. The one on the left, of course, has come off, so we're going to try to solder that back on. The things that we'll be using today is going to be a cheap little soldering iron, $5. The electrical solder that I think was about $4. We have a sanding pad, which is something that I had existing left over, and a multimeter, which this multimeter I think was about $15. We're going to first go ahead and sand down the electrical piece. We don't want to, hammer down on it. We're just trying to make sure that we get a clear contact. So I start off doing that first. Next, I'll actually go out to the truck and sand down these two parts that's on the window, the connections as well. Again, we just want to make sure we're getting a clear connection when we do start to solder them together. And I'm also going to measure continuity just to make sure that we have something flowing back and forth between these two. We're going to go ahead and check continuity. And as you can see, guys, we do have continuity there, which is always a positive thing. So now we're going to go ahead and hook up the soldering iron. I have the connector. I've taken that outside of the little hookup for it. I'm going to rubber band the connector using some pliers. That way, when I go to stick it up on the window and it has the solder on it, I don't have to worry about trying to hold it myself. It can already be done. Next, I'm going to go ahead and test out the soldering gun and make sure that it is ready to go. All right, it looks like we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and start applying some of the liquid solder to the electrical connector on both sides, which actually attaches to the window. I'm going to attempt to melt it down and coat it really good on both sides. Once I get it coated on both sides, I'm then going to put it on the window and then try to heat up the metal part of the connector so that the solder becomes liquid and then bonds. Now, I don't know how it's going to work out, but that's what we're going to attempt to do. All right, guys, and this is where the struggle begins. The most challenging part about trying to do this is being able to get the solder back melted to where it's a liquid and it will bond or adhere to the glass. And maybe it's because I had a cheap soldering iron. Again, guys, soldering iron was $5. Maybe if I had a better one or one that could have got a little bit hotter, it probably wouldn't have took me as long. So that's just an FYI. But I did eventually get it to melt down a little bit so that it could actually bond. Once I did that, I just took some solder and then started hitting the corners of it and getting it underneath the gap so I could provide more of a bond. Now, guys, this may seem a little bit challenging, and more than likely it will be challenging at first. But as long as you just take your time, you be extremely careful, then you should be able to get it to bond to the window. Again, it just takes a lot of patience and being careful. In this frame, you're going to see that I'm going to be able to get the electrical connector piece to stay on the window because there's enough solder now to where it's actually bonding to it. And once you get it attached, it's smooth sailing from there. You just want to, hit it in certain places to try to heat up the solder so that, again, it can liquefy a little bit and just become hard on the window. And then you can take your roll of solder and just hit in different places to create an even better bond. And as you can see, guys, I'm just doing a little bit of touch-up work. Since I have it up there, I don't want to take the chance of it, potentially coming off. So I'm probably overdoing it a little bit on the solder, but I am trying to make sure it does create a super solid bond. And after we are done completing that detail work, we're now going to measure for continuity with the electrical connector on the window. If we can get continuity, that'll be a beautiful sign. All right, so as you can see, we are golden. We have continuity. We are now going to plug the connector up just to make sure that it doesn't yank it from it and that it can withhold the little bit of pressure that the antenna is putting on it. All in all, guys, if you have about an hour of time, a soldering iron, some solder, a multimeter, you can go ahead and do this project. All right, guys, I hope that you found this helpful. I'm not sure how common this issue is. I mean, this is a 2015 and this came off already, so I'm going to assume that with the older model, probably Chevys, GMCs, Yukon, Suburbans, probably had similar issues to this. Either way, guys, I appreciate you coming through, watching the video. Appreciate the comments, the support, the likes. Go ahead and like the video. Subscribe to your channel. Subscribe to your guys' channel if you haven't. And I will catch you on the next one.